Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari makes his first trip to the United States as Nigeria's new head of government since May 29 inauguration. So what's on President Buhari's agenda? Not just for his scheduled meeting with President Obama, but for his other set of interface with Nigerians in the diaspora and the wider community. Plus, the MFLS interest rate decisions on Friday. Now let's get the views of Tunji Andrews, lead economist at TTAC Africa on this. Good morning to you, Tunji. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, boss.
Thank you, Tunji. We apologize for getting some of you out of your bed early on Monday morning, public holiday one like this. Now, squeeze these two largely unrelated issues together for us. Buhari in Washington, Emefiele in Abuja this week.
I think basically let's start with the President Buhari meeting with Obama, and some indications. We know that he's going to be talking a lot around the issues of Boko Haram and how the U.S. can collaborate with the Nigerian military to be able to strengthen the efforts in fighting Boko Haram, and also repatriation of funds, which are very critical areas. I mean, if you look at the fact that the U.S. military can provide critical intel and also retraining the Nigerian military, because the Nigerian military is used to fighting rebels and insurgents. And this is a different kind of enemy, a different kind of animal in terms of terrorists who have global training from the Al-Qaeda, ISIS affiliation. And also, we also look at the fact that we have issues with funding. So, I mean, the repatriation of funds that have been taken outside of Nigeria illegally would be a critical issue. Apart from the fact that the U.S. can help with finding those funds, the U.S. can also help in influencing that the funds be returned to Nigeria. But the topmost on my own mind would be the issue of trade. The U.S. and Nigeria have trade worth about $36 billion, and that will continue to increase. But we're looking at the fact that we have Iran coming back into the market. Iran is close neighbors with India, who happens to be one of our biggest crude oil customers at this time. I think the issue of crude oil prices is just one of Nigeria's problems. The biggest right now would be market share.
Okay.
Who do we sell crude oil to?
Tunji, let me cut in very quickly here. Very crucial discussion. You are part of the discussion you're stepping into. Do you think President Buhari will be able to persuade U.S. President Barack Obama to get the U.S. back to buy Nigeria's crude oil? Do you think President Buhari will be able to secure that? That is a major market downside for Africa's largest oil producer.
You want to question that may be able to happen, because, I mean, that is the reason why you have a Minister of Finance to be able to structure such deals. Nobody expects Buhari to be a finance major, and that's why he has aides. And I hope that his aides have been able to put together a constructive deal that will be able to see America return back to buying Nigerian crude oil. Because right now it is about how we give the U.S. incentive to buy in Nigerian crude oil. What do we give as an extra? Shale gas is very similar to the produce of shale gas is very similar to what our Bonny Light offers the American market. So what are we giving as an extra? That is what I hope that will be coming to this table, because it is critical to Nigeria going forward in terms of revenue, to run our budgets, to run our economy as a whole. And if the government is not speaking about that, then we are really not serious as a country.
Tunji, the key question here, the Americans are willing to support us in the war on terror, also on our coastal waters when it comes to piracy and things like that. But the key question is this: what do the Americans want from Nigeria?
That is the big question. That is the big question, because you look at the track history of the U.S. and you see that they do not go anywhere where they do not have critical interest. So for me, the critical interest would be still the fact that we have very huge oil reserves. And I do not totally think that the U.S. would be adverse to buying crude oil from Nigeria right now. I mean, we have very large reserves. But at the end of the day, it's about how we're able to structure a deal. I think that if we push a deal forward, something very, very constructive can come out of it, especially looking at the fact that if the U.S. doesn't hold Nigeria, which is the biggest player in Africa, China might, and China is already extending a hand of friendship. So the U.S. is probably trying to consolidate its African relations and just trying to hold Nigeria, which is the biggest player in the African continent.
Tunji, it's very, very crucial here that, yes, let's stay a little bit away out of Buhari, Obama's interface. President Buhari, this is the first time he will be meeting Nigerians in the diaspora, particularly in North America, the U.S. to be specific. Perhaps a few Nigerians will come in through the borders in Canada to meet with him at various other meetings behind closed doors. Some of these will be televised and covered by the media. What do you expect President Buhari to tell these Nigerians outside the well-worn story and the problems of Boko Haram? Do you expect him to talk about interest rate? Do you expect him to talk about currency devaluation probability? Do you expect him to talk about Nigeria's ratings, doing business in Nigeria, the cost of doing business, Nigeria's competitiveness, and why these Nigerians should invest back at home?
Well, Dalton, he left Nigeria. Today is day 53 since he assumed office. He's not said anything to Nigerians in Nigeria, so I do not expect him to say anything to Nigerians in the diaspora who are not directly linked to Nigeria as we speak. So it will be another exercise in rhetoric. I do not expect anything fundamental to come out of that meeting. We've seen his speeches over the last couple of weeks, and it's been a lot of talk, no clear direction. I think he will come out with a clear direction in a few weeks, but I don't expect him to come out with anything in this meeting.
But then, if the president is talking to Nigerians in diaspora and perhaps other foreign investors who are coming in through the direct investment in economies, perhaps portfolio investors, he will be talking about the sacking of the boards of parastatals as well as some other news coming in through pockets of news media, what have you. This morning, news that some vessels, about 100 or more of them, has been banned from Nigeria's coastal waters for doing business for, well, irregular shipload accounting there through the NNPC. That information came in early today. Don't you think the president has some things to say that would galvanize local and foreign investors who will listen to him privately at private meetings to say, look, this is the man we believe is the best guy for Nigeria to run it at this critical time. Let's join him. Let's believe in him. With all these talks and these meetings, we're going to come back on Tuesday, perhaps till Friday, perhaps from Monday next week, and the markets will be better. Bonds, interbank, stock market, and currency will get healthier. The Naira, that is.
Well, Bovan, I'm a person of precedence, and his precedence in the last couple of days has proven that he's someone that likes to keep his cards to his chest. So I am not expecting any of these things to happen in this meeting. I'm not expecting him to give anything away. And that again is a problem because the foreign investors really do not know which direction he's going towards. A lot of people expected when he came in he was going to dissolve the boards. He did not do that. He waited a couple of weeks before he did that. He's been moving tactically. It seems like he's playing a game of chess, which can be good, especially when we're looking at the fact that corruption is very in-depth in the Nigerian economy. But in the larger sense of the business community, he needs to tell us where he's going to so that we can have a clear direction. He can't keep showing us ways and bits and pieces of what he wants to do. It's not type and shadow. He needs to show us clearly where he's going so that we can be able to support him, so that businesses can put their money in the right direction and be able to support the Nigerian economy and his administration in going in the right direction. But for now, I tell you about him, we still do not know where he's going to.
Okay, so who do we bank on for this current week? Our holiday honeymoon is almost over. In about 24 hours from now, Tunji, we're back to the barricades, as it were. The president in Washington, Emefiele in Abuja. Give us about 2 minutes more of your time to wrap this up. Who do you think we should bank on for this week? Whether the currencies will recover, whether the stock market bloodletting will stop, or at least the hemorrhaging will be curtailed, and perhaps some confidence returning to the fixed income market? I
think the entire world understands our fundamental issues. Most of these issues are not unique to us alone. They're the headwinds we are seeing all across the world. Global crude oil prices falling, markets, emerging markets crashing. We saw China. It's cutting across all the economies of the world. So foreign investors, local investors see the problem. What we need to see is a game plan from either Emefiele or the president showing us a way out, and a plan that has been critically thought out. Emefiele has not really helped. He's been throwing everything at the problem, hoping something will stick. That is not giving confidence. The president can help anyways. If he comes out in this meeting with the diaspora, he just needs to give us two sentences showing us some clear direction, and that will critically change the direction of the market, and you will see the markets in the green in the next week. But if he doesn't, we can expect to continue to see the bloodbath.
Tunji Andrews at TTAC Africa, lead economist, we thank you for your time today on the program.
Thank you for having me.